Hey Carp Geeks, this is one really for the extreme bait heads amongst you. Okay, I've been able to find in literature just recently some supporting evidence for the theory of how impulse really works. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to talk you through what I've found essentially. So, excuse me while I look at my slides over here. So what we've got, if you look at the curve here, the red line would be just for a pure single amino acid. Okay, which is in pharmacological terms an agonist. Okay, so that's the thing that binds to a receptor. Okay, and the graph shows you on the left the percent of maximum response. Okay, so in other words, the level of response you get, feeding response in our case. And along the bottom there, the actual dose of the drug or agonist, which is essentially the concentration of amino acid in the water when we fish. Okay, now as you can see, and I'll press buttons, right? So as you can see, I've labeled there the optimum range of receptor site occupancy essentially on the left axis there between 50 and 85%, and that's from literature. So if you cover between 50 and 85% of receptor sites for whatever drug, or in this case amino acid, you're dosing, you get a therapeutic response, as they call it, okay, which for us is an optimal feeding response. Key thing is though, when you look, and I'll just press the button again, those blue lines show you literally how narrow the concentration range is for an optimal stimulation for a single amino. And that's always been the problem, hasn't it, right? So amino acids work, it seems, randomly, right? Well, no, because that Goldilocks zone of perfect optimal concentration is very narrow. Okay, so it's a very narrow range of optimal concentration for a single. What we've done, as you can see by the blue line there, okay, we've added as let's just read what it says: competitive agonist. Now that's science speak for blocker. Okay, so by adding that blocker, you can see what we've done. We've stretched out that blue curve, yeah, and then when we look at the I'll just press the button. When we look at now the 50 to 85% optimal range, look how much wider it is on the bottom axis there. All right, so impulse, yes, it does what it says on the tin. Okay, it increases the optimal dose, right? So you can have a much broader amount, if you like, of impulse in your swim to achieve the desired effect. Now, of course, be careful, because you want to achieve that minimum threshold concentration, which gives you that 50% coverage. So that's why we say, hey, when you use impulse, it's literally one big ball of ground bait goes in first. That gets you over that 50% coverage into the quote-unquote Goldilocks zone. Then, as you catch fish and that level starts to drop off as the fish eat the bait and the aminos start to wash out, you need to top up. Okay, so regular, little and often feeding to response is the trick. Okay, and as you can see, that blue line on the graph there, tops out at a much higher concentration than the red line, meaning you have that bigger window. Okay, so impulse, it's it does have its limits. You've got to put enough in to reach threshold, and you can't overdose. That's the important thing. Okay, so follow those two simple rules: establish threshold, keep it topped up. You will very much catch more fish. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Drop us a line. Info at Biosource Baits if you got any more specific questions. Okay, see you next time.